Yeah. So I think yeah, we are live. So now okay, hello everyone. So today is a session where we are going to talk about Welingkar College. So we have with us Professor Hema from Welingkar, and she will brief us about the whole college and any queries you can ask in the chat box. Yeah, I hand it over to her now.
Okay, thank you, Patrick, for the introduction. Hey everyone, good evening. This is Dr. Hema Doraswamy. I work as a professor at Welingkar Institute of Management, Bangalore campus. Basically, I teach in the area of accounting and finance, and my PhD is in the area of corporate governance. So I do a lot of research in these areas, and also sustainability is an area of interest for me. So I have around 2 decades of teaching and research experience, and I'm with Welingkar since 2011. So that's a brief introduction about me. So as Patrick mentioned, firstly, I will discuss about what is the importance of management education, and also how management education is basically a very, very dynamic field, and how it changes from time to time. And as a very, very vibrant institute, how we have incorporated all these new developments in the area of management into our education and curriculum system. So this is what I will be speaking about for the next couple of minutes. So first and foremost, what exactly is management education? So most of you might be aware that management education is one of the most sorted course, right? After graduation, be it engineers, or be it from non-engineering background, or be it from any other graduation program, when students complete, one of the important field that they consider is pursuing a management program from a reputed university or a reputed B school. So why is this trend, and why there is so much of demand for management education? As most of you might have done your own research, there are so many management schools, universities. There are many, many new programs being launched, but yet this program is still attracting a lot of talent and a lot of interest. So what exactly is the concept of this management education, right? So first and foremost, you need to remember is, when you join a management program, especially in a B school like Welingkar Institute of Management, most of the things that we teach is experiential learning. So now that is the difference between a regular education program and a management program. Now, what do I mean by experiential learning? So everything that you study or everything that you understand is either through an exposure of a situation, right? Or it is through conversation with some industry experts, or it could be by solving a case. So it could be on various platforms, right? So first and foremost thing, all of you should remember how a typical management education in a good institute like Welingkar is different from any other normal education that you might have gone through all throughout your years of learning. It is an experiential learning. That is one. Second important thing is, management education will always be in demand for the simple reason that businesses keep facing newer types of challenges. Now, let me just give you a couple of examples. Most of you might be aware that every business faces risk, right? Rochelle, I just wanted to check if I ask a question and students are they able to put the message, and can I see the chat box? Is it possible? Puneet or Rochelle, or anybody can take, let me know. Possible?
You can see the chat box on the YouTube live.
Puneet or Rochelle, or anybody can.
Yeah, can you hear me, Professor?
Let me know.
Can you hear me, Professor?
I can. I think there is a lag.
So you can see the chat box on the YouTube live.
Anybody can.
So, ma'am, actually, I'm seeing the chat box.
Chat box on the YouTube live.
Hello. Yeah.
I think there is a lag, and
yeah,
it's okay. I think I'll manage. Not.
So, ma'am, if any question comes up, I'll tell the question to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Okay, so let's continue. As I was discussing, most of you know that every business faces different types of risks, and in the beginning, as I mentioned, these business conditions are very, very dynamic, and also the way you do a business also keeps changing. Let's take risk, right? Maybe around 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you had said risk for a business, what would have been the primary risks for a business? Say it would have been whether the sales will happen or not. So that's a risk, business risk. Or there could be shortage of raw material. So that's a risk. Or there could be interest rate risk. Or maybe there is a risk if you are exposed to international business, dollar fluctuation is a risk. So these were some of the, or if it is a bank, if they have given loans to someone, whether they will repay or not. So that's the risk. So these were the traditional risks that a business had. But today, if you see, that entire framework of risk has completely changed, right? Now, every business is on an online platform. Everybody do digital marketing. So the kind of risk that you have is very, very different, right? So the risk could be, cyber risk is one of the major risk for any kind of a business today, be it a bank or be it a hospital or be it an IT firm. For everyone, this cyber risk has become very, very huge. This was not the case maybe around 7-8 years back. Another example, if I have to give, is today, everybody has a mobile phone, everybody has internet, right? So any problem with any product or a service, people will flag that problem. Say the customer service was not proper, or there was a faulty product, or there is some kind of an issue. Immediately it will be flagged and everybody will come to know about it. That means it is very, very difficult today to manage the businesses and to attend customers' needs, because if you don't do it, you will already be trending on the social media. So there is something called as reputation risk, right? So like this, the way the business, and also the business models per se. So today, the kind of business models you see, especially say aggregator businesses that you see, whether it is Ola or whether it is Uber or whether it is Oyo Rooms or platforms like Flipkart, Amazon, right? So these are all the new age businesses or the edtech business that you're seeing post-COVID. There are a lot of new type of businesses. So what I'm trying to say is the way the businesses are done and the way the business processes change are very, very dynamic in a business scenario. And you need trained people to handle it, right? You need newer talent, you need trained people to handle these new business challenges and these new business models. Now, that is where the management education comes into picture. So what exactly a management education does is it will train the students in a way that they are ready for taking up these business challenges. That is the very, very important understanding all of you must have. So the moment you enter into a B school or a management institute, you're being constantly trained to be a manager by throwing up a lot of challenges, by giving a lot of information, by making you understand different business scenarios, and also giving a lot of industry inputs, right? So that is about the management education. Now, secondly, when you talk about management education, as all of you know very well, there are two different sections. The first section is your domain specific skills. So what do I mean by domain specific skills? See, you may be interested in finance, or you may be interested in marketing, you may be interested in HR, you may be interested in IT, you may be interested in operations. So you will take any one of them and you specialize. Now that is what is called as domain specific skills. But please remember, for a manager, more than domain specific skills are equally important as domain specific skills is your soft skills, be it communication skills, be it time management, be it stress management, be it leadership skills, right? Or today being understanding the role of an organization in society also matters. So an equal blend of both your domain specific skills as well as your communication skills, that is soft skills, that makes an individual attain a holistic kind of a development. So that is the second important component in a management education. The third important point with regards to management education is the students are constantly challenged, as I told you before, right? See, business always keeps throwing up a lot of challenges. It's not like you will go sit and then you do your business and come back. It's not like a 10 to 5 job, right? Ultimately, when you are in a business and when you are in a position of a manager, there are a lot of critical decisions an individual has to take. There are a lot of situations where it is impossible to find a solution, but you're forced to find an amicable solution. So this management education also helps you in constantly being challenged, in constantly being given a lot of situations, and also giving a lot of industry components. So in a nutshell, this is what management education does to an individual. It is a holistic program. It takes care of training students from the functional area perspective as well as from the soft skills perspective. It also ensures that there is a overall development of an individual, be it kind of communication skills, etc. So there is a question, how should we improve our communication skill for GDPI? Okay. So I'll do one thing, maybe another 15-20 minutes, I'll continue this explanation and I will take up the questions. So because I'm in a flow and I will just finish it and I'll keep the questions for the end. Punit, does that work?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so now I mentioned that the management education curriculum too is very, very dynamic because business conditions are dynamic. Now, if you keep the same curriculum, same syllabus, which is 10 years, 15 years old, then what's the point, right? So what you study may not be useful at all, right? So there are a lot of innovations keep happening, a lot of new techniques keep coming up. All of you might have heard terms like newer leadership styles or new motivation theories or new ways of doing business. So all of this need to keep changing. So another important feature of management education is most of these curriculums in a management institute very quickly gets upgraded with the current industry changes or the current industry benchmark. Now, today, if you see, there is a lot of focus on fintech, there is a lot of focus on blockchain, there is a lot of focus on risk management, there is a lot of focus on cybersecurity, right? There is focus on compliance. Now, these are some of the fields, and data analytics, as most of you know. So these are the things that are new today, in the sense which are in a lot of focus. So immediately institutes will gear up to make it a part and parcel of their curriculum so that students get the most relevant and the most important information. Now, with this background, most of you now are aware why a management education is important and why management education is always in demand, and how management education is different from any other normal degree, for the simple reason that here people specifically get trained to become managers and become a part of the corporate world. Now, let us talk about some of the programs and some of the systems that we have at Welingkar Institute of Management. I'm sure all of you might have done your own research about the institute. So we have two campuses, one in Mumbai and one in Bangalore. So if you look at Welingkar Institute of Management, as I was mentioning before, as and when there is a new kind of demand in the industry, or as and when a new industry starts growing, right? So immediately we find that gap and we start having those kind of courses. Say, for example, we have a range of PGDM programs. So one is post-graduation diploma in management, which is a core PGDM. Then we have post-graduation diploma in eBiz, which is a blend of management and technology. Then we have post-graduation diploma in business design, okay? PGDM in business design, which basically focuses on design thinking and innovation. So you know today what is the importance of these terms, right? So way back, we were like having this foresightedness to start a course in business design, which talks about business, how design thinking, how out of the box thinking. See, ultimately in businesses, you need to think different. Right. So there will be hundreds of people who are working on the same product or working on the same service, but few will become successful. How is it possible? That's because you need to think out of the box. So you need to bring in that kind of design thinking component, constantly innovate, right? So that is about PGDM in business design. Then there is PGDM in healthcare. You know the kind of growth that healthcare industry is experiencing, especially with a lot of these healthcare facilities by the government and also individuals focusing on their personal health. And it is not just hospitals anymore. Hospitals need to be managed in a proper, as a management. Proper management is required to manage these large healthcare units. It need not be just the hospitals. It could be all associated services, right? So you need, see, the concept of management is you end up managing these institutes professionally. Okay, this is another point you need to remember. Anything, when you use the word management, it is about managing things in a professional manner, right? So there is PGDM in healthcare. Then there is PGDM in rural management. So as all of you know very well, the kind of growth that India is seeing in rural and semi-urban areas, smaller towns, smaller cities, right? So it is phenomenal. And everybody is today connected through internet. So there is no much difference between the life that people have in smaller towns and bigger cities. In fact, it is everybody's, it is very good for everyone if our cities are decluttered, right? So there is too much of population in the cities. The cities are collapsing without proper infrastructure. So it is in the best interest of everyone if these smaller towns and cities grow. And it is happening, right? But then the way you operate in a rural setup or in a smaller towns and the way you operate in the larger cities is completely different. So you need to understand the nuances, right? So there the business models are different. There it could be agriculture, or it could be various other components wherever they are famous for a particular field. So you need to understand the nuances of doing business in a rural environment. So that is your PGDM in rural management. And there is PGDM in media and entertainment. So today, as you know, media, with all this social media, etc., social media is also a very, very important contributor today. There is so much of content, there is so much of things that are happening, and it has become a very huge revenue model for people, right? So in case of even media, entertainment, so these are all have become very, very professionally managed fields. So you need people to manage them in a proper manner. You need people who know in and out of how the industry works. So that is where we have these many different programs. Because see, somebody might be interested in becoming a media person, but may not be for a front end, but you want to manage the media. Now, precisely this course is for you. You can pursue PGDM in media and entertainment, and you can become a media manager, right? And as I was mentioning before too, this research and business analytics, as you know, has a very, very huge demand today. And I hope all of you know the background, why suddenly this research and business analytics has become so popular. That's because of the kind of big data that we have, right? So everywhere we put so much of information, our own email IDs, phone numbers, etc. So everybody has a lot of information, and people want to find out patterns in that, right? So people want to draw some kind of conclusions by this. Now, suppose say if you have a Coca-Cola Facebook page, and if there are lakhs of comments on it, right? So how do you analyze them, right? Is it possible to go and analyze each of the comment? It's not possible, right? So data analytics helps you in breaking down that big set of data into smaller portions, right? And also helps you in devising some patterns and conclusions out of these bigger data sets available. And most of you might be aware, this is one of the most sought out field today. So we also have a program on this research and business analytics, right? So these are the wide range of programs that we have, which caters to the requirements of different fields and different sectors. So most of these sectors that I mentioned are doing quite well, and they are in demand for talented individuals, which we cater to, right? Secondly, so what do we do at Welingkar? Very different. Or how do we ensure that the holistic development that I spoke about is achieved? So you know that when you are in an academic institute, it is very, very important that you learn the concepts. See, sometimes there is a kind of two extremes. So one school of thought says that we are an academic institution, though we are a management institute. Our job is to teach students in the classroom, give them degree. Okay, so based on which they should design their careers. There is another extreme school of thought which says that management schools are not to be taught in the classrooms because nobody can learn business in the classroom. So they have to be left completely to the industry experience, and academics takes a backseat. So you concentrate too much on the industry activities. So, but there has to be a proper balance between the two, right? So having a conceptual understanding, having a theoretical understanding is very, very important to build on certain skills or to build on certain qualities. Now, say, for example, subjects like, or say components like financial statements. Now, if you don't learn how to read financial statements, right? If you don't learn how to read financial statements, then how do you do a business, right? So tomorrow you will become a manager for your own business unit, right? You are the lead for your own business unit. Now, if you don't know how to read a financial statement, then what's going to happen? So that should happen as an academic exercise, right? So there is a very, very important focus that is given to academics, right? And as I was mentioning before, the curriculum, the syllabus, right? Every year the syllabus gets upgraded. So we take out what is not very, very relevant and we include the new component. So as I was mentioning before, say for example, the moment we realize that, okay, fintech is something that's very, very important, right? So we included a value-added course on fintech so that everybody know what exactly is fintech, especially from the finance background students, right? So that is the curriculum development that we do, and there is a proper focus on what should be taught and what is important. So that is the one important component. So there is a huge focus on academics. Secondly, we are also known for a very, very wide range of industry interface activities, which means a lot of industry people will come and speak to students on various platforms. One is, as most of you might be aware, delivering guest lectures, right, by industry mentors. As I say, there is a relevant topic, say, for example, compensation management. So in HR, there is compensation management. Now, how do you do compensation management? What exactly is compensation management? What are the components to it, or industrial relations? So what are some of the compliance matters in HR, right? So we will call an industry person who will come and speak. So this is one way of creating an industry interface. Secondly, there are a lot of platforms where students take up projects. So one is summer internship, where every student is mandatorily has to do a 2-month summer internship program. They have to intern in a company with a corporate mentor and as well as an academic mentor, faculty mentor. Then we have a concept of live projects, which is again an industry problem. You will study and provide a solution. We have something called as Global Citizen Leader. It is a very, very important program in our curriculum, where in the first year itself, students get an exposure to corporate problems, and they work in teams to find out a solution. So it could be a social entrepreneurship project, or it could be a corporate project, or it could be anything. So find some kind of a business challenge and find out solution to it. Study the business problem and also give solutions to it. So some of our students have done very, very remarkable projects on this Global Citizen Leader. So they have got a lot of industry appreciation as well. So this is another platform where you end up having a corporate interface. Then there are a lot of panel discussions that happen. So each field, some of the topics, there are panel discussions that happen. So there are roundtable activities that happen. So then when there is a budget, So budget is the most important event, right? So it impacts most of the sectors, and being management students, every student must be aware what's the impact of the budget on the economy. So we call these experts pre and post budget discussion. Now that is again another platform. And our career management department, they take a lot of initiatives to keep the students engaged, right, with the industry. So frequently there are a lot of talks that happen, alumni come and speak. So there is, and also there is NHRD membership of the college. So students end up participating in a lot of conferences and a lot of competitions. So this is the kind of exposure towards the industry that we have. So through this explanation, what you're supposed to understand is we at Welingkar have an equal blend of academics as well as industry exposure, a very, very competitive syllabus, which will get reviewed every year with a lot of newer inputs coming in. Again, as I was telling you, this, even the curriculum development, we just don't do on our own, because we need to check with the industry what exactly they need, right? So every year we do these board of studies, etc., where we take the inputs from the industry mentors, saying that what is important in this. So if I'm talking about marketing, what should be included, right? So that is about the kind of initiatives. There is a very huge set of initiatives that we take so that students are connected with the industry, and at the same time, they're also getting a conceptual clarity. And believe me, this starts right from the beginning. It's not like after 1 year or so, but it starts from the beginning. Just lectures and industry mentors coming and speaking, live projects, GCL. So all of this starts very, very soon. That means students have a lot of time in engaging with the industry and also in engaging with the industry practices and understanding how a business works and what are the nitty-gritties of taking up a project and working on it. So this is about the various kinds of systems and the various kinds of curriculum and the various kinds of platforms, etc. we have. Apart from all of this, there is a focus on research as well. See, how much ever you work hard and how much ever you study and take up a job, that research bent of mind is very, very important if you have to grow continuously. All right. So if you do not research about a particular field or about a particular topic, then you will be out of touch. So to keep the research bent of mind, we also have something called a summer internship research program, wherein every student is supposed to write a research paper with a faculty mentor, right? Every student will write a single research paper. It could be on whatever the field that the student likes. So apart from this, every subject has a lot of these internal assessments, which are again based on research, presentations, group discussions, and all of that. So peer learning is another important feature of management education, to be particular, and Welingkar to be specific, right? So this peer learning also helps in students developing teamwork, right? Time management, understanding each other's points, and all of that. So these are some of the important initiatives that we take at Welingkar. So now let me take some questions. Okay, so there is one question: how should we improve our communication skill for GDPI? Okay. So as I mentioned, see, communication is one of the important criteria. One thing all of you should remember is you cannot think that only communicating well is sufficient. So there has to be content as well. Okay, that I'm making it very clear. So you have to, suppose say, content-wise, you're very confident, and at the same time, you don't know how to communicate. Now, what I suggest is, you can start, the only way you can improve communication is by practicing. Okay, now, how do you practice? One is, normally what happens is, there is a kind of anxiety, right? So when people talk to you, or when there is a question asked specifically, so you might get very kind of anxiety, and you may not answer properly. Now, the only solution for that is, please practice. Have some standard set of questions, starting from introduce yourself, to your education background, to some of your achievements, and also understanding the current trends, what is happening around you. As I said, if you know things, you can speak well. Correct. So if you know well, you can speak well. So it is important to know what is happening around you. If you don't know anything about a topic, then what will you discuss? Right? So my advice is, practice every day, and practicing in front of the mirror. So have some generic 10 to 15 questions. Okay. So in case of group discussion, as you know very well, there are certain topics given. It could be generic topics, current affairs. So you know that management education is all about dealing with what is happening around you, right? So current affairs, it could be some of the government policies, or it could be startup ecosystem in India, or it could be economic impact of Russia-Ukraine war. It could be anything, right? So we can't really say what could be the topic, or sometimes it could be some generic topic like let's take this, is communication really important? That could be a discussion. So you don't know. So have some generic questions, write down answers, okay, practice them in front of a mirror, or if you have a friend or a family member in front of whom you can practice, please practice it. So communicate, the only way you can improve communication is to practice. So practice, practice, and practice. So don't hesitate. So nothing is going to happen. Even if you don't communicate properly, that's not the end of the world. So you should come out of that fear zone. All right. So that is my suggestion to you. So form a group of your friends. So communication is important to everyone, right? It is not that only for one person. It's important to everyone, be it any field. So people who communicate well will generally have a higher upper hand over others. So that is a proven fact, because ultimately what you know, what you don't know depends on how you communicate, right? You might have seen there are few people, even if they know very limited information, they very cleverly talk and they manage. So it is a skill, right? So therefore you should practice talking. So do it, and don't hesitate to seek help, be it some of your faculty or teachers or your friends for that matter. If you find that some of your friends are too good in that and you seek their help, do it, right? So form your own peer group, friends group. So everybody should help each other. That's how you will grow, right? But every day you need to practice. That is how you will improve the communication skills. All right. Okay, so let me take the next question. Next one, what are the advantages that a person gets after pursuing MBA versus the person who does not pursue MBA? Will I get less opportunities in future if I do not pursue higher studies? Okay, so see, this is a question where at the beginning, at least, you will definitely have a very, very upper hand if you are pursuing a 2-year management program degree. For the simple reason that, as I told you, there are so many things done in these 2 years to bring that kind of a holistic development for students, especially to become better managers, right? So as I said, I have 2 decades of experience in this field, and I have seen some of the students who come with very shy personality or very closed kind of a character, introverts. Within a year or so, you can see them just flourishing, right? So they just open up so well and they get placed so well. It is really wonderful to see. So this 2 years investment that you're going to do will obviously get you better results, correct? So this 2 years, you read multiple subjects, and when you say management, it's a blend of, at least in first year, you end up reading almost all the functional areas. So you have a subject in finance, you have in marketing, you have in HR, operations, you have something on tax, you have everything in the first year. So you get that exposure to different fields, and obviously this degree becomes a kind of an asset for you, right? It's important to realize that this 2 years is an investment that you're making for your future. And obviously that is going to have better results for you, right? So it is very important to understand that this 2 years that you're going to spend in a management institute is going to add a lot of value. It in fact changes you as a person, the kind of information that you get, the kind of exposure that you get, the kind of peer group that you have, the kind of interactions you will have with your professors, right? The kind of case analysis that you do. So yesterday I was doing a case analysis with my students about, it was a finance case, restructuring. So it was such a beautiful case that a lot of good inputs came from students. So they did their own. So when you do all of this, obviously you're having a better opportunity to explore good things and better career opportunities. All right. So the next question is, give me a minute. Yeah. How should freshers choose their area of specialization? Many are often confused whether to go for finance or marketing or operations. Okay. Now see, this is a very common problem that most of the students face. What specialization I should choose, whether it is HR, marketing, finance, operations, etc., etc. Now, what happens is once you start studying all these subjects, okay, see, there are 2 ways of looking at it. Generally, what happens, many students will see the placement that has happened in the previous year, and based on that, they decide, saying that, okay, this year finance has done well, so let me take finance. Or sometimes students will say, okay, this year marketing has done well, so let me take marketing. But to be honest, don't do that. As I said, in the first year, you get exposure to all the different domains. So you have all the domains. You have HR, you have marketing, you have operations, you have finance. That are not 1 papers. You end up studying 2-3 papers. Now, if you take marketing, in first year, you may have marketing, first semester, you may have marketing, next semester, you may have consumer behavior. Accounting, first year, you may have accounting. Second year, you may have costing, so second semester, you may have costing. So we at Welingkar have trimesters. So that means in first year itself, you end up reading 3 papers for 1 subject. Now, say, for example, when you say accounting, you have financial accounting in first try. Second trimester, you have costing. Third trimester, you have corporate finance. HR2, you have HR, OB, management perspective. So like this, you have 2-3 papers of a same specialization that you end up studying. So when you do that, you automatically develop interest in one of the areas. So you automatically feel that, okay, I'm more attracted to finance, or my skills lie in finance, or some of you might be exceptionally good communication skills and you may enjoy sales. So you may think that, okay, marketing is good for me. So like that, so you develop that kind of an interest, and then comes the internship. So many a times, so many students, it happens every year, they would decide marketing, they go and then they come back and say somehow it's not fitting, so I'll switch to finance. Or they will say finance, they'll go and then they come back and say somehow I'm not finding it interesting, I'll change it to marketing. So there is a lot of time. You need not worry about it. Day one of your MBA program, there are a lot of time for it. All right. So you can always decide. There's 1 year time for you to decide about the specialization, and also 1 year time for you to figure out what actually interests you. All right. So that's not the choice that you need to make in day one. Next, so how to decide which branch stream finance? Okay, since most people, yeah. So I have answered this already. So you need not decide that on day one. Take your time. Look at all the courses that you have done. See what interests you. See what kind of a job you enjoy. So if few people say that I can't work 9 to 5, right? I can't do a desk job. I have seen many of our students say I can't do a desk job. So they prefer getting into business development roles. They prefer operations, say floor jobs. So few people are very, very interested in operations in banks. So it depends. So what actually your nature is, what kind of a job you actually enjoy, what kind of a field interests you, whether it is, so that understanding you will have when you take up your course in the first year, and when you do that kind of a, as I said, a lot of things happen. You do a lot of projects, you do presentations, you read a lot, you listen to industry mentors. It also starts with your foundation program itself, which is basically a kind of a onboarding program in case of a management institute, where a lot of industry people will come and tell you a lot of insights. So you will automatically in a position to take a decision at least after 1 year. You need not worry about it on day one itself. So how to face grilling interview means it feel very disappointing after the interview. So see, many times the people who take, because we also sit on the panels for interviews many a times with the industry representatives. What we basically look for now from the perspective of interview panelists, what I can tell you is we don't expect that students know everything. All right. It is impossible. Now I can ask, okay, tell me US for this policy, Fed rate, this, that, etc. Complex questions. But the point is not that. Not everyone, we will not expect you to answer everything. But at least we would expect that you know what is happening around you. Okay, so which means I know if you're preparing for a management program, by now all of you might have already started reading newspapers and knowing what is happening around you, and specifically in business field. All right. So maybe other kind of news you're very interested, because sometimes a few people are very much interested in sports, few people are very much interested in politics, few people are interested in the entertainment industry. But so you must know what is the impact of that on the business. Now, say for example, recently when some of these Bollywood movies are not doing too well, what was the business impact out of it? PVR shares were falling. So you should know that. Don't get into controversies of, okay, why this film is doing. That is none of our business. Our business is, if these movies are not doing well, how is it impacting the economy? PVR shares are falling, right? So at least you must have some kind of an understanding of what is happening in the economy, and also your basic degree, whatever is your basic degree, be it engineering or be it BCom or whatever it is, at least you must know important concepts. Now, suppose say if you say, I have done BCom, and if you cannot answer what is the difference between a fixed asset and a current asset, right? if you say that you are an engineer, and if there is a technical person sitting, and if he asks some technical question, if you're not able to answer, so now that shows that you are not well read. So my sincere request to all of you is, no interview panel will expect that you will know 100% answers to our questions. That's not the thing. At least some kind of an understanding of overall business scenario in and around what is happening. Or even when you say, sometimes we even ask what's your interest. So suppose if you say sports, so there could be some tournaments happening and some kind of questions on that will be asked. Or maybe who is the most, your iconic business person in India. So you should be ready to answer that. So if you say Tata, so why is Ratan Tata your favorite business person? What has he done? So why you like him? So if you just say Tata, and if you don't know why you like Tata, then that shows that you're not well read, right? So do a lot of preparation, all right? Do a lot of preparation. Keep reading the newspapers, business news in particular. Try and understand that whatever is happening in the economy, or whatever is happening in and around you, how it impacts the business. So that should be your focus. All right. Next one. I'm from engineering background and I have 4 years of experience in manufacturing company as a design engineer, but I want to pursue MBA in finance. Is that a good idea? Yeah, so this question is coming from Ravi Kumar. Ravi Kumar, as you know very well, this work experience that you have 4 years is a very, very big asset for you. And also specifically, you have in a manufacturing business. So which means your path is already very clearly set, that you have this very huge experience of 4 years and also an engineering degree. And then you want to pursue finance. So that is absolutely fine, right? And also with your experience, you will know how the finances actually work to some extent, right? So what is the investment that happens and how the money is spent in a manufacturing unit, fixed cost, variable cost. I'm very sure that you will be in a very, very good position to analyze all of this. So when cost accounting and all these subjects are done, I'm sure that you will have an upper hand because you know all this information. So it's a very good idea that you can, for your given background, either it is operations or it is finance. So both go very well. You can definitely consider. Next question. How should a fresher answer the question like, why do you want to pursue MBA if he has no idea, has only surface level knowledge about MBA, like from reading through internet articles? So as I mentioned, see, there is nothing wrong in saying that MBA basically makes me a holistic personality. It trains me in functional area plus in soft skills. I'll be trained to become a manager, and that is what I look for, right? So I'm not interested in any other field, because if you were interested in any other field, you would have probably done that, right? So suppose if you wanted to become a, say, a faculty or a teacher or whatever, you could have studied that, right? So now you actually want to become, so you can say that it has always been, just give me a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. So you can always say that it has been my dream for a very long period to become a part of a corporate world. You can quote some companies. All of us have some dream companies to join, right? Or a dream role per se. So you can say, this is what I have been having a dream to become a part of such a large organization. So I would like to train to become a better manager. And MBA gives you a lot of avenues, right? Today, all of you know that how this startup culture is having an impact on a lot of students, right? So many, in fact, even in our institute, we encourage students to become entrepreneurs. So we have an incubation cell. One of our alumni is incubating with us, right? So there are a lot of push for this entrepreneurship as well. It is on the agenda of Ministry of Education as well, and it is the agenda of most of the B schools as well, and same as Welingkar as well. So it also opens a lot of avenues to you. It is not always about getting a job, right? So the moment you take up MBA, so one of our student, there was one startup that incubated in our college, and this student joined that small company with the owner, right? And today it's a big company and that student is in the management team. So what I'm trying to say is, when you pursue MBA, it is not always about just taking up a job. It could be taking up a job, it could be becoming an entrepreneur, or it could be joining a startup, right, in a key position and growing, or it could be doing something on. So it could be a lot of things. So MBA actually opens a wide range of opportunities to you. So you can answer saying that at the end of the day, I want to become a part of corporate world, and this is my starting point. So I'm a fresher, I'm just out of college, and I want to pursue this MBA and acquire the necessary skills to become a part of the corporate world. And you know the program structures, and as I was explaining you what all is taught, and the unique feature of a management education program is creating that industry interface. So you can say you're looking forward to all of that, and that's the reason you would precisely want to pursue a management degree. So this could be the line of argument. Any other questions?
So major of the questions have been covered. So the questions related to form, application form dates and all that I have answered on the chat.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So most of the questions are covered, ma'am.
Okay, shall we wind up then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, guys. So it was a pleasure talking to you all and also taking your questions. I hope all of you have enjoyed the session and got some kind of a useful information. Wishing everyone all the very best. Do well, and also whatever the kind of doubts, etc. you have, you can again in turn get it clarified with Puneet regarding our institute. If there anything specific that you want to get in touch with me, you can speak to Puneet and he will get us connected. All right. Wishing everyone all the very best. Good night.
Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. And thank you, Rachel, ma'am, and Patrick, sir, for this wonderful session.
Puneet, shall I log out?
Yes, ma'am, you can.